Hello, my name's Siobhan McLean. I've been a social worker for 33 years. My recent career has focused largely around trying to make social work theory and critical reflection more accessible to students when they're learning about social work and to busy practitioners. One of the things that I think people can struggle with is an understanding of the difference between a theory, a model, a method, and an approach. And over the years, I've tried a range of different ways of exploring this. Taken from social pedagogy, the concept of head, heart, and hands has really helped me to think about what a theory is. And I've had real fun working with a brilliant animator, Ray Marrett, who's brought the idea together in an animation. I hope you enjoy watching this animation and it helps you to think about why nobody wants a skeleton of a social worker.
Students begin their journey by learning the bones of social work in the university setting. But becoming theory informed in practice involves becoming comfortable in your professional skin. I love the concept of head, heart, and hands, which is widely used as a framework to describe the active parts of human presence, being absolutely present in the moment. The framework can help us to think about how we bring our whole self to our practice. It's really over the years helped me think about my use of self. In terms of thinking about our use of theory in practice, then the head, heart, and hands framework can be really helpful. It can particularly, I think, help us to understand more clearly the difference between a theory, a model, a method, and an approach. Now, in my professional career, some people have said to me that learning whether something is a theory, a model, a method, or an approach doesn't and shouldn't matter. But I think that we need to understand what something is to know how best to use it. So, positioning concepts within our own body can be really helpful in understanding how we can make use of those concepts in practice. So, let's get back to the bones that you've learnt about in the university setting. Well, an approach that describes our overall way of working, how we go about something. As we bring ourselves to practice, the approach that we take can be represented by our heart. It's all about what sits at the very heart of our practice, what's particularly important to us, what keeps everything else going and everything else ticking. So, our approach is going to influence our choice of theories and models and methods. The approach sits right at our heart. It's important to remember that at times the approach that you want to take might be in conflict with the organisational or the political approach of the day. For example, perhaps relationships really matter to you and they sit at the absolute heart of everything that you want to do. You want to take a relationship-based approach to your practice. But if you're required to see people for a very short period of time and then move on quickly, that can be much more challenging. Then you need to think about how to take good care of your heart if this is the case. No social worker has ever said to me that their favourite approach to social work is a managerial, bureaucratic approach. It gets our heart pumping. It absolutely doesn't. It doesn't sit well. But we might all find ourselves working in that way at times. At these times, thinking about how you can get back to the heart of your practice can be really helpful. So an approach is all about our heart. A theory is really our way of thinking about something. Theories can help us to understand people and situations, and they can inform our practice. So theory really sits in our heads because it's the way that we're understanding what's happening. A model, though, that guides our intervention. Our hands could represent the model that we use because that's all about what the practitioner actually does in the situation. It's the hands-on work that we do. Now, a method is a tool or a technique. Methods are generally drawn out of models, which is why I like to think of methods as the tool that sits in the hands. The tool demonstrates that this is about the use of a specific skill or intervention. Of course, in practice, we generally have a whole toolbox to draw on, but we don't always know where the tools that we use have come from, and that can be problematic. Sometimes when I'm observing students or new professionals, I might see them use a method and I might ask them about it. When I ask them, where does that come from? They'll often say something like, oh, I saw another social worker do it, or my friend sent it to me. To be a professional, we really need to know where the things that we use come from. So I hope that the analogy of our approach sitting right at the heart of our practice, a theory sitting in our head, a model sitting in our hand, and then the tools that we position in our hands being the methods that we use. I hope that analogy has helped you to feel more confident about your use of self as a social work practitioner, particularly in terms of theory-informed practice. You bring your whole self to your professional role, though, drawing on your head, your heart, your hands, as well as your eyes and your ears and your feet and your gut, even your soul. It's important that you work hard to understand the theory base of social work practice. But as Carl Jung is reported as saying, know all of the theories, master all of the techniques, but as you touch a human soul, be just another human soul.